So I'm going to read a little bit from the simile of the saw, and then I'm going to start talking about what you can expect at the end after getting off of retreat. Let me see if I can find it. Forces of speech that others may use when they address you. Their speech may be timely or untimely, true or untrue, gentle or harsh, connected with good or connected with harm, spoken with a mind of loving kindness or with inner hatred. When others address you, their speech may be timely or untimely. When others address you, their speech may be true or untrue. When others address you, their speech may be gentle or harsh. When others address you, their speech may be connected with good or with harm. When others address you, their speech may be spoken with a mind of loving kindness or with inner hate. Here you should train thus. Now this is the teaching of this sutta. Our minds will remain unaffected, and we shall utter no evil words. We shall abide compassionate for their welfare. So anybody that comes at you with any kind of speech that you feel is not appropriate, instead of paying attention to what they say, what you want to do is start radiating loving kindness to them and be compassionate to them. With a mind of loving kindness, without inner hate, we shall abide pervading that person with a mind imbued with loving kindness. And starting with him, we shall abide pervading the all-encompassing world with a mind imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility, without ill will. That is how we should train. So somebody says something that you know is not true, so what? Doesn't matter. Somebody comes at you with their anger, so what? It doesn't matter. What matters is what you're doing in your mind and how you are being mindful at that time. You've been here for 10 days. You've been practicing loving kindness meditation for 10 days. Now it's time to take this meditation out with you in your daily life. So other people have their own opinions, and they can have their own opinions of what's true or what's untrue. They can have their opinions to be judgmental or not. It's up to them. But what this practice is really teaching us is to send loving and kind thoughts to them no matter what they say. And then use that person as the reminder to send loving kindness to all beings in all the directions. The more you can remember to do that, the easier life becomes. You don't have a mind that's going to get tight and tense because somebody said something in a way I don't like it, because somebody came at me with anger. Your mind can have balance in it. This is what I've been trying to show you. Balance in your mind. It doesn't matter what somebody's opinion is. What matters is what you're doing with your own mind. You cause your own suffering by taking thoughts and feelings personally and using a kind of speech that sometimes isn't very pleasant to be around. Other people's opinions does not have to affect you in a negative way or a positive way, for that matter. What matters is what are you doing with your mind in the present moment. When you remember that when you're talking to everyone, or anyone, that you radiate loving kindness to them. What's the easiest way to radiate loving kindness? You smile. And give that smile away. Practice your generosity as much as you can remember. And that helps your mind to be more alert. It lets joy arise in your mind. And when you have joy in your mind is very alert. Your mind is very quick to notice when it's not there. So you can let it go and relax and and use smiling as your object of meditation with your daily activities. I've been trying to get you to practice that for the whole week. And the more you practice it, the more uplifted your mind becomes. The more uplifted your mind becomes, the better your mindfulness is. And then you won't get knocked off balance when somebody comes at you with some kind of speech that you don't particularly like. So this sutta is pretty amazing, because the Buddha is showing us that meditation is not just about sitting like a log. It's not about not moving. It's about bringing happiness to other people. And the more you practice giving other people your smile and your happiness, the more happiness comes back to you. The more you affect the world around you in a positive way. So it's a real important aspect of the practice to realize that it's not only sitting in meditation or doing a walking meditation. This is about living. This is about watching what your mind does and how you cause your own pain and how to let go of that pain. Now, when you get off retreat, which is tomorrow morning, we're going to give you the 5 precepts then. You're going to go back home and you're not going to be able to go as deep into your meditation as you are here, because there's other things that are going to start distracting you, and other people are going to talk to you, and you're just going to get back into your daily life, whatever that happens to be. So your mind is not going to be as peaceful and calm, and you're going to lose some of the edge that you have here. Okay, everybody here has gotten at least into the 4th jhana. Most of you have gone further than that, and that's just great. But when you start your daily practice again, and I recommend that you sit every day for at least an hour, and if you have time, sit longer. Start out by radiating loving kindness to all beings in all the directions. As you become deeper in your meditation, then it will change into compassion, it will change into joy, it'll change into nothingness. So you'll have the compassion, the joy, the equanimity. And then go from there. There are going to be days when you have a very active mind, because there's going to be a lot of things happening. Welcome to the real world. You sit down in meditation and your mind is just as active as it was when you were sitting or when you were doing your daily activities. Don't be shocked at that. Don't be upset that your mind is not going to settle down as quick as you want it to. Who wants it to? So what you want to do is just realize that if you've had a very active day and you've been very busy, when you sit down in meditation, your mind is going to be active for a little while. So you're going to have practice using the 6 R's. I highly recommend sitting in the morning. It's a great way to start the day. Now, if you start just sitting in the evening, then a friend comes over and we're going to go out to eat. And then you get done and they leave and you're tired and you say, well, I'm going to sit tomorrow. And then something else happens and you don't do it, and before long you get out of the habit of doing it. When you do it in the morning, it's a great way to start the day. And if you feel like sitting in the evening, that's your bonus meditation. Now, your progress in meditation will start to improve as you do more, but it's not going to be so fast as it was here. That's just a natural progress of things. Here, what I was doing for each one of you was, it was like the book that was in the 60s or 70s about putting a crack in the cosmic egg. So I was cracking all of your eggs. Now you got the work to get out. I gave you the opening. I showed you what to do. And you all understand very well. This has been a great retreat. So many of you have let go of so much pain and suffering. Now, you're still going to go and get caught by this or that. And it's still going to have painful things arise in your daily life. Welcome to real life. But you're not going to be caught as long. Often I give this example because it's a great example of how this lady who was having a lot of emotional problems with her husband, and he kept on doing things that made her upset. When she came and started practicing with me, she would get mad at her husband for 2 weeks. And she was downright nasty and saying things that were really not nice and doing things to get even because he said something. And she recognized all the pain that she was going through, and she wanted to see if I could help. When she walked in the room, I wanted to walk out. It was unpleasant feeling around her. There's no getting around it. But she came to see me. So I was caught. So I told her that she could start by practicing loving kindness just to herself. And she said, well, I have 3 children. I don't have much time to do the meditation. When am I supposed to do it? I have one child that has to be at school at 6:30. And in Malaysia, they have morning school for certain age and then afternoon school for another age. So she's running a taxi service pretty much of the time. And the other things that the kids needed to get into dancing school and all of these kind of things. So she was running around a lot. So I said, well, get up a half an hour early. Well, that's the only time she could get up and meditate that it was quiet. So she started doing that. Over a period of time, her husband would say something that would make her mad. And instead of staying mad for 2 weeks, she only stayed mad for 10 days. And as she kept on practicing, now this is over a period of 5 years, because she didn't have time to come to a retreat. She had to take care of her children and doing other things. So after a period of time, she kept meditating, and he would do something that would make her mad, and she'd only stay mad for 7 days. And then before long, she would only stay mad for 4 days. And then it was 2 days. And then it was a day. And then it was a few hours. And she got down so that he would do something that would make her mad. She still had that anger coming up, but she'd only stay mad for 5 or 10 minutes. And then she just let it go, because she saw the pain that she was causing herself. When you're doing this practice, it is a gradual progress. It is a gradual training. Now, the training that I showed you has been accelerated. But when you go back out into your daily activities, it's not going to be quite as good. Your mindfulness isn't going to be quite as strong. You're still going to get caught by the same things you always get caught by emotionally, but they won't last for as long, because you'll see how much pain you cause yourself. And you'll start letting it go. And then you'll start developing the equanimity more and more strongly. So the emotional upsets don't even bother you as much. You still get caught occasionally, but not for so long. And then it goes away pretty quick. Now, the whole trick of doing loving kindness meditation, or staying with your object of meditation, or staying with smiling, is practice. When you're walking from here to your car, what do you think about? This and that, nonsense here and nonsense there. Well, instead of doing that, why don't you, as soon as you go out your front door and close the door, use that as the reminder to start radiating loving kindness to yourself, to all beings, to any individual you want to radiate loving kindness to. It's up to you. But use that door as the reminder. Every time you go through it, try to remember, now's my time to practice radiating loving kindness. And then when you get into the car, try to keep it going for as long as you can remember. When you get up in the morning, if you have been practicing what I suggested at the first part of the retreat, of making the determination of waking up with a smiling, happy face, then keep that smiling and happy feeling going through your morning activities. You have to wash your face, you have to brush your teeth. When you're brushing your teeth, you can smile, because you're smiling already. Just put the smile in your heart. Doing a lot of different kind of activities. Make a key in your mind. Every time I touch this door, I'm going to start radiating loving kindness. I did a practice for a period of time where I would stand up and start walking someplace. I always started out on my right foot, and that's when I started practicing loving kindness. Difficult practice. When I saw that I wasn't doing that, then I would go back and sit down and get up and do it again. But monks can do that sort of thing. We have the time to do that sort of thing. So sending loving and kind thoughts to everyone around you is a wonderful practice. When you're in a store and there's a long line to check out, what are you doing with your mind? Looking at your watch, geez, I hate to be in line like this. Then you recognize, everybody else in line is thinking the same thing, basically. So start sending them loving and kind thoughts. Say something to the cashier about what a great job she's doing. Send her loving and kind speech. Every time you can remember to do that. So it's a pretty amazing kind of practice when you make up your mind that that's what you're going to do. Don't get off retreat and say, well, I want to go back and be the way I was before the start of the retreat. Don't do that. That says that the retreat was a waste of time for you. The retreat is such that you go through changes. And these changes are positive. These changes help you to have an uplifted mind. Keep that uplifted mind going as much as you can remember. Well, every time this person says that, I always act this way. Well, guess who has some attachments there? Guess who causes himself pain when that other person doesn't act exactly the way you think they should? And then you start giving them words that aren't so kind. They don't lead to a mind that's uplifted. They lead to making the other person angry, so now you're at war. How many times do you have the thought, you always act that way, you always say that? How many times does that happen? When the truth is, nobody always is anything. But your expectation that they're going to act in this particular way always gets met because that's the kind of image you're holding of that person. You're not giving them the space to change. That's what the forgiveness meditation is all about. When you forgive somebody for making a mistake, then that leaves space for them to change. But when you criticize them because they're always making the same mistake over and over and over, they're going to keep doing it. Because that's your image of them. And you are affecting the world around you with your imaging. Now, I told you when I was talking about the Eightfold Path that I hold an image of being prosperous. Being prosperous doesn't necessarily mean being rich. Being prosperous means I'm able to help other people. And that makes me so happy. There's nothing better in the world to me than helping you to let go of your suffering. And I'm reasonably prosperous at doing this. And that just, it makes my day. It makes my month, it makes my years. If people want to help, they can help. We're building a center. We now have a meditation hall. Ooh. It only started out as an idea. And then we could put that idea down on paper, and all of a sudden, the prosperity started coming in so we could build it. We have a lot of other little projects that we need to build for eventually. We want to have a section of the land for female monks. Very important. And it has to meet certain requirements according to the Buddha's teaching. So that's the way we have to do it. It will happen when the time is right. I don't have one doubt in my mind that it will happen. Well, how's it going to happen? Where's the money for it? I don't know. I don't care. The money will be there when we're ready to start. Our treasurer started frowning with that.
And I warned you about that.
I know.
Be frowning.
I'll be good. It'll all come in just fine.
And I'm the only person in my family, and I have a fairly large family, that's a Buddhist. And I'm a Buddhist monk. And I don't have any money. And they see me traveling all over the world. Well, how can you afford to do that? They like me well enough that they want me to come visit. Okay, send me a ticket, I'll go. That's the way it used to be. Now we're going to get a little bit more picky on the tickets that come in. So they're not quite so often. This is hard traveling, what I've been doing lately. I think the dogs have forgotten who we are.
Well, is there no other dogs?
One of the things that the Buddha said was, what you think and ponder on, that is the inclination of your mind. If you think and ponder on being poor, never having people that are helpful. Any number of images that you hold in your mind, the more you think and ponder on that, the more your mind tends to think and ponder on it. I think and ponder a lot on being prosperous. I think and ponder a lot on being able to help other people. And it happens. But if you think and ponder on how you hate this other person for doing something that you didn't like, well, guess what kind of an image you're holding, and does that lead to your happiness and well-being or not? The more you think and ponder on negative things, the more negative things occur. The more you think and positive and think and ponder on positive things, the more positive things will start to happen for you. This is what the meditation is about. It's about developing a wholesome mind. And the Buddha promises in the suttas that when you develop a wholesome mind, good things will happen for you. Life becomes magical the more you think and ponder on positive, uplifting things. The more you practice your generosity. This isn't just giving money, it's giving your thoughts, your positive thoughts, giving your smile away, wishing somebody else happiness, saying things that make other people smile, saying things that help them to have more confidence in themselves, doing things that help other people. That's what life is all about. Now, things in this country, they've tried to develop breaking up of the family. Mom and dad have to work, the kids come home and there's nobody home. They start acting in ways that are bizarre. They need to have love. So when you see that, send it to them. It's a kind of protection. I've been in situations where there was a lot of people with bad intention towards me. And I start sending loving kindness to them, and all of a sudden the leader starts shaking his head and just walks away. That happens. You have to remember to do this. And the more you can remember to be kind and giving and helpful to other people, the more other people will be kind and giving and helpful to you. So what are you going to do when you get off retreat? Go back to the way you were, where you were suffering, or not? It is your choice. You can do it or not. But it's more magical when you do the positive stuff. You start seeing miracles start happening. And this is a promise. If you continue on helping, smiling, wishing other people happiness, you will see miracles. You'll see people go from being unhappy and sad to all of a sudden smiling. Now, if that's not a miracle, I don't know what is. And the more you can do that, the easier it becomes, the easier the meditation becomes for you, and the more other people respond to you in a positive way. So, this is what I've tried to show you for all the 10 days that you're here. And there is a release from the suffering. It can happen to you at any time when you keep your practice going. There's a sutta that it talks about people that don't keep their precepts. Even after they have an experience of nibbana, if you don't keep your precepts and you stop practicing morality, you can lose your attainment. You will overindulge in your sense pleasures. You can lose your attainment if you overindulge in it. What you think and ponder on, that's the inclination of your mind. When the inclination of your mind wants to indulge in all kinds of activities that you know is going to pull your mind away from being loving and kind and mindful, then you're going to lose. The suffering will come back. It works that way until you get to the fruition. So keep your precepts. Don't break your precepts for any reason. Especially the fourth precept. The fourth precept is about speech. Don't tell lies. Don't curse. Curse is a low person that curses all the time. Don't try to divide people with your speech. Don't do any gossip. It's important that you follow that precept, because it'll come back and bite you if it doesn't, if you don't. It will cause you all kinds of problems, and people will become less likely to trust you if you break the precept of speech. So, keeping the precepts about not killing living beings on purpose, not taking anything that's not given, not having wrong sexual activity. Wrong sexual activity means not having sexual activity with somebody that's too young, or they have a mate. Okay? Any other kind of sexual activity, as long as it's not forceful, doesn't cause anybody else pain or suffering, that's your choice. We don't have to be celibate, but I want you to be celibate when you come and do the retreat, because that keeps your mind more uplifted. But when you go home, I'm going to give you 5 precepts. The third precept says no wrong sexual activity. 8 precepts means no sexual activity. So for this period, this is not a time to indulge in sexual activity. When you go home, it's your choice what you do. Now the thing with the precepts is there's nobody in heaven that's going to throw down lightning bolts if you break one of the precepts. but you start to have a mind that starts to feel guilty because you know you shouldn't have done that. Now, Buddhism is not about feeling guilty about things. We leave that for other religions. So when you see you made a mistake, forgive yourself for making the mistake. Take the precepts again, and I recommend everybody take the precepts we give every morning home and recite them every morning. Not as a rite and ritual, as a reminder to keep the precepts without breaking them. So if you break a precept, you say something that's not true, okay? Then stop. You know you made a mistake. Forgive yourself for making a mistake. Take the precepts again with the determination not to do that again. So you don't keep doing the same thing over and over again. And then continue on. Oh, I've had people talk to me about the precepts, and I said, okay, you finally convinced me I'm going to have to keep the precepts. How long do I have to keep them? And my answer is, well, we'll start at 100 years and go up from there. If you break a precept, you can look forward to having hindrances arise, not only in meditation, but in your daily life. More hindrances will arise. Life becomes much more difficult. And you start losing a lot of happiness when you break the precepts. And it's your choice. There's nobody that's going to sit over in judgment of you whether you keep them or not. You know for yourself whether you do that. That's good enough. I've given you the key to taking the precepts again with the determination not to break them. That's the key. Try to do that for as long as you possibly can. Then the next time you come for a retreat, the retreat will be much easier. Because you won't have so many hindrances knocking you out of your different jhanas, whatever it happens to be. Okay. Now, did I answer all the questions that you might have about what's going to happen when you get off retreat? Or do you have some questions? Every day. I love her. Absolutely brilliant.
When we do the meditation, do we choose the Metta, Karuna, or separate?
You do loving kindness meditation and let it go at its own speed to karuna, to joy, to equanimity, to neither perception nor non-perception.
That will happen in one sitting, or just today this much and then continue?
It depends on you.
No. That's
How can I tell you how long it's going to be? You don't choose it. You just start with loving kindness and let it go by itself.
And then just do. Okay, that was my question.
Yeah, automatic.
It's automatic.
You don't try to. I want to do joy today. No.
Oh, okay, that was my question.
Do loving kindness
Okay.
and progress as it will to the deeper states.
Right.
Okay?
But then now during the walking meditation, we do only meditate.
Same.
The same thing will happen.
Oh.
It develops.
Oh. Okay,
You saw it happen.
I know, but then.
Well, then why do you think it's going to happen different? You saw the way it happens automatically. You saw how it happened automatically. That is the way that the Buddha is teaching us to do it.
Boy, I sure do want you to come back next week. Good, she's got questions, you know?
Yeah, that's great. There are times that I start talking about karma, and there's a sutta in here that says what you have to do to be intelligent and what happens that makes you stupid. And quite often, when I was in Asia, there was an awful lot of Chinese that would practice with me. And Chinese are taught not to ask questions ever. But they're real ambitious, and they want to do things in the right way. So I would tell them this story about when I was with my teacher, Usilananda. He was a Burmese Sayadaw, very famous. I must have asked him 20 to 25 questions a day for 2 years. I wanted to find out everything I could. And finally, I asked him a question, and he stopped and he looked at me and he said, "When you're reborn as a human being, you're going to be the smartest person in the whole world because you want to know everything." But when I would tell the Chinese that you're going to be reborn stupid if you don't ask any questions, all of a sudden hands went up.
I know a lot of people, friends of mine who are doing meditation, some are young, some are older. A lot of them have some sort of health problems related to sitting long, back problems, knee problems. My question would be, how should we meditate in order to do it for a lifetime?
In the most comfortable posture you can do. You see a lot of people here sitting in chairs. You're sitting on the floor, you're a young man. You haven't got the bad knees or the bad back so much. But there are times when sitting in a chair is appropriate. In Asia, what I would do, they all think that they're supposed to sit on the floor, but they've been sitting in chairs their whole life. So sitting on the floor is painful. But if they want to continue sitting on the floors, I tell them, okay, sit on the floor one time, sit in a chair the next time. Give your body a chance to get the circulation going. Now, a lot of people that are practicing meditation, they tell you to walk very slowly. Well, if you're walking very slowly, you don't get the blood circulation very much. Because when you're sitting, the blood starts to go down into your legs. And that can cause pain in itself. So I tell you, when you're doing your walking, walk at a normal pace or a normal fast pace so that you get the circulation going. And that helps stretch out the muscles. But there's no magic in sitting on the floor. So sit in a chair, sit in a floor, change it every now and then. Whatever is most comfortable for you, that's the best way to do it. And recognize that there is a difference between real pain and meditation pain. Real pain doesn't go away. So you get up and your knee hurt while you were sitting, and you keep limping because it really hurts. Well, don't sit that way again. Don't sit in a way that's going to cause problems for you. Change that so that you can sit in a comfortable way without causing harm to your body. If it is meditation pain, that's a little different story. You want to sit with that a little bit longer, but not so much that it causes a lot of pain and frustration. You sit with it a while, 6R it, and then get up, start walking, the pain goes away, get your circulation going, and then come back and sit. I want to say thank you for working so hard. Let's share some merit then. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we've thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty powers, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.